Hi, and welcome to the New South Wales Government Solar for Apartment Residents, or SoAR incentive, also known as the Solar Bank's Strata Rebate video. So, on the 28th of February 2025, we had an announcement by Anthony Albanese, Chris Bowen, and Penny Sharpe, the New South Wales Energy Minister, about the SoAR incentive, or Solar Bank's rebates for residential strata buildings in New South Wales which do shared solar. And the total funding for the program is $25 million. It will be broken up as 50% co-funding for each strata scheme, capped at a maximum of $150,000 per strata. The applications will close on the 1st of December 2025 or when the funds run out. But we know from the $10 million EV charging and strata infrastructure grants from the New South Wales government that they actually closed that program after 6 weeks because they were oversubscribed. Now, to be eligible to participate in this program, you need a minimum of 3 lots. So we can't have duplexes, and a maximum of 55 lots. You can't have any existing solar systems, and I think this impacts strata schemes that might have common area solar systems installed, or maybe in townhouses where 1 or 2 townhouses have already installed individual solar systems on common property rooftops. So we expect that they won't be eligible. So they're looking for rooftops that have no solar on them today. The common area meter can be connected up into a solar sharing gateway, such as an Illume Energy SoulShare, but it's required that at least 60% of the solar power that's generated through the solar system flows into individual apartments, because it's about reducing the cost of living, and the amount that flows into the common area meter can't exceed 40%. Now, the cost of the shared solar infrastructure for the strata buildings needs to be borne by all owners, and you would assume that that's on a unit entitlement basis. But what that means is this is everyone in the building is getting access to solar, or no one is getting access to solar. So if you've got a strata building with 15 lots, you can't have 10 people applying for the grant for a shared solar system that just connects up to their 10 apartments. It's got to be all in or nothing. Now, the New South Wales government will allow their 50% co-funding to be applied towards essential meter board upgrades. Like, for example, if you don't have a smart meter for each of the apartments inside the apartment building, and you need to do that before you can do solar, that would be something that we would call an essential meter board upgrade. Also, they will include the cost of waterproofing that's directly under the solar system, but obviously not. They're not going to waterproof your whole roof for you and pay 50% of that. They're not going to rewire your whole apartment building and pay 50% of that. Now, it only applies to strata buildings, not to company title or to landlord-owned apartment buildings. It also is only for strata buildings that can afford to pay up front for the other 50%. So you can't do a power purchase agreement that covers the entire solar installation, like a $0 down deal, and collect on the SoAR rebate. You've got to be paying the other 50% yourself. But the way you pay for that other 50% could be from the Capital Works Fund, from a special levy, or from a strata loan. The other thing is you need to keep the feed-in under 30% of the solar generated. And the idea behind that is it stops like a small strata scheme oversizing their solar system beyond what they need. And that keeps money in the pool for other people in the grant program. But what would be smarter is if you have the ability to oversize your solar, that you actually incorporate batteries into your shared solar solution and then make use of another New South Wales government rebate called the Peak Demand Reduction Scheme rebate, which applies just to batteries. And then you would try to get your combined solution of shared solar and battery, not feeding more than 30% into the grid. Now, you need to get 3 quotations from solar installers. The best place to go and find 3 accredited solar sharing installers is to go to the Electrify Strata installer directory, and then just type Illume into the Google search box. And then the other thing is, as a strata scheme, you'll need to demonstrate the effectiveness of the system, that it's value for money, the method of implementation is sound, and that you're capable of completing the product. And if you can get through all those steps, then stage 2 funding will be allocated to you. So the first stage is just an expression of interest. That can be done by any strata committee member. And then the second stage, you will need to pass a sustainability infrastructure resolution. So you'll need some proper documentation to get through stage 2. Now, you can see that this announcement had Anthony Albanese there, the Prime Minister of Australia, as well as Chris Bowen, the Federal Energy Minister, and Penny Sharpe, the New South Wales Energy Minister. And the joint press release is between Anthony Albanese and Chris Minns. Now, the federal government solar rebates also apply on top of this New South Wales SoAR incentive. So you can still get your STCs from the federal government. Now, what might it look like? Here's a diagram that shows shared solar. In this diagram, there are 4 units in a common area. That would be a 3-phase common area. And you can see that there's a single solar system on the roof. It goes through a solar sharing gateway. At the moment, you've only really got the Illume Energy Sol Share as an option, but there are multiple installers that are accredited to install the Illume Energy Sol Share, which was developed in Melbourne. And you can connect up the common area load to the solar sharing gateway if you've got spare phases. So each Illume Energy Sol Share can do 15 phases. The other option is if you're in like a townhouse setup, you can use microinverters and get a single solar installer to install a whole lot of individual solar systems with microinverters, and we think that would be eligible for the SoAR rebate as well, because it's sharing the solar power into the individual residences to reduce the cost of living. Now, one of the challenges here in New South Wales, AS3000 is the Australian standard for wiring rules. And here's an example of a strata meter board that's not compliant. You need to get your meter board compliant to be able to install solar. So you've got to also get a quote from a electrical contractor that can do a meter board upgrade if required. You can also find one of them on the Electrify Strata installer directory. And you may have to do some waterproofing because when you put down solar, the panels now last for 30 years. Waterproofing on roofs might only last for 15 years. So you want to get, but the co-funding will only apply to the little patch of roof that's underneath your solar system. Now, what's not included, you can't take out a power purchase agreement, which is a $0 down solar finance deal for the strata scheme. It has to be a CapEx deal where the owner's corporation is actually paying. So this model is not allowed to be used to get a $0 down solar and then claim on the rebate. Now, one of the things that you have to do is you have to pass a sustainability infrastructure resolution, which is making use of the amendment to the Strata Schemes Management Act that came out in 2021. Now, not all strata managers are, geared up and know how to pass one of these strata sustainability infrastructure resolutions, but either your strata manager or your strata lawyer can help you prepare that and get you through that, which has a different voting threshold. It's a lower voting threshold. If not more than 50% of owners that vote on a unit entitlement basis who are opposed to doing the shared solar system vote, if it's not more than 50% of unit entitlements against, then the motion will pass and your project will pass and proceed forward, as long as you're able to demonstrate that you can fund the shared solar project. So next steps, Whatblock will be helping a number of buildings with solar tenders to compare 3 different quotes and get the best value for the strata building. And we'll also be setting up solar sharing surveys for buildings that are interested, to try and determine the level of interest and see whether there's enough people that would want to do solar sharing and pay for solar sharing in your apartment complex. And we've also got our Electrify Strata WhatsApp group. We've got over 100 enthusiasts on strata electrification in there, and we've set up a subgroup for the Solar for Apartment Residents SoAR grants. So you can join that and chat to other people that are going through the grant application process. Now, there's some exciting footage. We've been working in strata electrification for 10 years, and this is the first time we've ever seen a Prime Minister talking about solar on apartment buildings. So that is a bit of a breakthrough, and we'll cut over to this footage now.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced a $25 million initiative to pump up solar panels on apartment buildings. The new package could save residents up to $600 a year on their power bills. Alison Petrowski has the details.
Well, it's called SoAR, the Solar for Apartments Residents Incentive. It's funded by the federal government. It will be administered by the New South Wales government, and it will cover up to 50% of the cost of installing shared solar systems on apartments up to $150,000. Now, Keith and the residents here in Ashfield were early adopters. They installed panels in 2021, and all up it was $50,000 for the entire block of 9 units. He says each unit has carved roughly $1,000 a year off their energy bills.
It's been worth it, put it that way. No one would object to what we've done.
There are estimates that this could save residents up to $600 a year on their power bills. So good for residents' cost of living, good for reducing our emissions, good for the environment.
The Albanese and the Minns governments want to help people like Keith make that transition quicker and easier in the future.
This is about lower bills. This is about lower emissions, but importantly, what Keith has done in this building, as to his own words, a reasonably ordinary building can show how much money people can save and how easy it is to do.
Although Australia has the largest per capita number of solar panels on roofs in the world, only 3.5% of apartments have solar panels. Applications for this new incentive open today and closes on December 1 or until funding is exhausted.